StarCraft will never die. Since its release in 1998, it has been played non-stop in South Korea. In fact, you would be very, very hard-pressed to find a month where StarCraft was not in the top 10 most played games in PC bongs, aka internet cafes, across the country. That's 24 years of StarCraft being played consistently, day after day, month after month, year over year. By 2007, StarCraft had sold 9.5 million copies worldwide, and 4.5 million of those sales belonged to South Korea, a country with a population of 48.6 million at the time. The game fueled the massive expansion of PC bongs, spawned an entire esports industry, gave rise to rock stars, and packed venues and beaches with thousands of screaming fans. Billboards, clothing, dedicated esports TV channels, big-time sponsors, team houses, it all started with StarCraft, and it's why the game is immortal. PC bongs had already been operating for a few years in South Korea since 1994, and were a spot for coffee, checking email, or playing a few games like Go. But as PC gaming became more popular, there was a shift in their operations, specifically around 1996 when Diablo and Battle.net were released. PC bongs started buying more and more PCs to accommodate the demand to play games. Many homes in South Korea at the time either didn't have a PC or weren't internet capable, driving even more of the younger populace to PC bongs to hang out. It was the perfect storm. The rise of the internet, coupled with PC bongs, created a hotspot for people to gather with friends. So once StarCraft hit in 1998, everything went into overdrive. Instead of heading to a billiards room after school, students would hit up their local PC bong to play StarCraft. The influx of demand meant more and more PCs were needed, and to this day there are over 20,000 PC bongs across South Korea. The best players drew an audience around their PC while they competed against the best online to climb the rankings. Owners of PC bongs saw what was happening, and they started hosting small tournaments in their venue and sponsoring players, a foundational move for StarCraft esports. In 1998, a player named Shinju Young, who would typically play for up to 15 hours a day, became the first recognized pro gamer in Korea. At the same time, two small esports leagues were competing with one another, the Korean Pro Gamers League, founded in 1997, and Net Club. But it was when a player named Samjung won the 1999 Brood War Ladder tournament that StarCraft started creating superstars. With that win, Samjung began appearing in commercials for Cornet, an internet provider. In 2000, a few key things happened. First, the Korean Esports Association, or KESPA, was created to manage esports athletes as part of the Korean Ministry of Culture in order to safeguard players, standardize the industry, and run the esports side of things. Second, the world's first dedicated esports TV channel, OnGameNet, or OGN, was launched, which included the soon-to-be massively successful StarCraft League known as Star League. And finally, in October of the same year, Samsung partnered with the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism to put on the first World Cyber Games. In 2002, Korea recognized pro gamer as an official job title, one that many kids cited as what they wanted to be when they grew up. 4 short years. That's all it took for the foundation of esports to be cemented. One game, one country, thousands of PC bongs, millions of players. But this was just the beginning of StarCraft's rise to immortality.
But Scarlet on the regroup is...
Oh my God!
He's going for it. He's going on top of the Colossus. One Colossus remaining. He needs to keep it back. SOS's life depends on this. Maybe it doesn't anyways. Beyond is just too good with his control. This is it, Tasteless. SOS is done. Oh my God! Beyond! Teamless Beyond is the GSL CODIS champion!
The game was nothing without the players. The first Star League winner in 2000 was actually a Canadian named Gur, but from then on StarCraft was considered South Korea's bread and butter. StarCraft Brood War received a balance patch in May of 2001 and wouldn't receive any more updates until September of 2008. With no further adjustments to units and gameplay in sight, players were able to truly master the game.
I'm gonna try this. This is one of the hardest things to do what you're doing. It's so sick.
Legends began to emerge from the StarCraft scene, and titles started being applied to special achievements. Boxer, for example, was the first to not only win back-to-back Star Leagues in 2001, but also walked the royal road, winning his first Star League the first time he participated.
전진 분해와 자 뒤쪽 수비하기 위해서 상담 선수 거의 모든 병력을 보냅니다. 러커와 히드라리스크 그러나 숫자가 얼마 되지 않습니다. GG! 한빛 소프트백 온게임의 스타리그.
Later that year, Protoss player Garmito stopped Boxer from three-peating Star League, creating the curse Legend of the Fall, a prediction that a Protoss player will win the fall season of Star League. Another Protoss player, Reach, contributed to this legend when he also stopped Boxer from winning Star League in the fall of 2002. These players and more were gods at StarCraft, becoming known for unique strats and playstyles. But they also became niche celebrities in Korean culture, with players being recognized on the street and tiny rural hometowns being recognized because a StarCraft player was from there.
사천 그러면은 사람들이 사천이 어딘지도 몰랐어요. 근데 진주 옆에 사천, 삼천포 옆에 사천 이렇게 칭을 했거든요. 근데 요즘은 우리 유진이 때문에 저 같은 경우에는 학교 관계자분들도 그렇고 시청의 관계자분들도 아 사천의 자랑 김유진 선수 어머니 오셨습니까? 하고 저보고 인사를 하고 그럴 때는 정말 좋습니다. 그리고
There are four particular players that cemented their place in the pantheon of StarCraft history. Two Protoss players, Bisu and Stork, a Terran player named Flash, and a Zerg player named Jaedong. They are more commonly known as Taekbang Lee Sang, a combination of their names. From 2007 to 2012, these players met and feuded, leading to historic moments like Flash beating Stork in 2008 to become Star League's youngest champion at 15 years old.
완벽합니다. 완벽합니다. 와, 이형어.
오늘 경기의 포스만을 본다면
고등학교에 입학한 이영호 선수가
Each of them pioneered gameplay strategies that rippled throughout the scene, influencing the gamers who watched them to adopt their favorite pro player's style of play, causing discussions across message boards and in PC bongs about new ways to tackle matchups. Many tournaments during these players' reign ended up in the semifinals or grand finals between some combination of those four players. They represented the essence of what it meant to be a pro StarCraft player, and were indomitable in their craft. Only a few other players, past and present, can live up to the fame those four earned. But there was a lot of room in StarCraft for special players, moments, and other tournaments. A Terran player by the name of Firebat Hero was famous, or infamous depending on who you were, for his over-the-top post-game celebrations. His most notable pop-off came in 2008 on the beaches of Busan after giving his team a 3-1 lead in the SPL finals. In front of countless thousands, Firebat Hero stripped down to his bathing suit and took a dip in the waters of Busan. StarCraft didn't just have an impact on South Korea either. While the West lacked things like accessible and affordable PC bongs, our own community emerged in the form of Team Liquid and TL.net.
New world opened up to me. Something I had no idea existed, and it captivated my attention from the very beginning.
In 2002, TL.net launched as a gateway for non-Korean fans of StarCraft to connect and learn about the most recent matches, new strategies for each race, or just talk about the game. Team Liquid founder Victor Hosens told us what made TL.net special. Team Liquid.net's point of difference was this unique blend of a love of high-level StarCraft set to a backdrop of being a home for some of the world's best players. When I say some of the world's best, it was Liquid and non-Liquid players alike choosing to spend their time on the site. The culture of the site was such that there was a deep appreciation for those who were demonstrably very skilled, and I think that default level of respect afforded to great players made it easy for them to find a home with us. One of the aspects that truly set apart a site like TL was the VOD database that holds matches dating back to October of 1999. Without a way to access OGN overseas, TL.net was an informational conduit for StarCraft fans worldwide. Western fans could watch the latest StarCraft matches anywhere in the world thanks to the website. Without its creation, Western fandom and adoption likely would have lagged behind. In 2010, Blizzard released StarCraft 2. It was a welcome refresh to the StarCraft scene that hadn't seen an update since 2001.
Hell, it's about time.
While the sequel was well received by most, and pros from the Brood War era of StarCraft competed in StarCraft 2, Many returned to Brood War, even with Blizzard pumping up the SC2 scene with big prize pools and the creation of the StarCraft World Championship Series, a year-long circuit that culminated at BlizzCon. The WCS was its own beast, creating its own magical moments. From watching SOS becoming a two-time champ, to Beyond winning GSL Codes without a team and then WCS, to seeing Serral become the first non-Korean to win the WCS and break the 20-year stranglehold of Korean dominance in 2018, it had its own storylines and superstars. But Brood War was still king, and still being played in PC bongs and on TV. Blizzard attempted to shut down the Brood War scene in 2010 when StarCraft 2 was released, but the fans won out. Korean broadcasters were able to strike a deal with Blizzard, allowing them to continue to run and televise Brood War. Then, Blizzard released StarCraft Remastered in 2018, when they celebrated the 20th anniversary of the StarCraft franchise. With it, they announced that StarCraft 2 would go free to play, and they also announced an official Brood War League, 20 years after the game's release. The Korean StarCraft League would be the main tournament scene for Korean Brood War players, and it had full Blizzard support. The fans asked, and Blizzard delivered. StarCraft Remastered was also unique in the way it was created. Throughout its development process, Blizzard consulted with players Flash, Stork, Bisu, and Jaedong to figure out what they should update and what they shouldn't as they rebuilt StarCraft. Players wanted largely the same game, unique bugs and all, and Blizzard listened and left them in to preserve the gameplay. This choice from Blizzard went a long way to helping the Brood War scene continue to thrive. In 2020, Blizzard took its hands off the reins of this beloved franchise. Blizzard handed StarCraft back to the people who were most passionate about it, who helped build up and maintain it as an esport when Blizzard was focused on one of their other IPs. StarCraft was back in the hands of the people, and because of that, StarCraft continues on, not budging from the top 10 of PC bongs, despite the fact that Brood War is 24 years old. Looking back at the legacy of the StarCraft franchise, the foundations it created, the bridges it built, the memories it's produced, and the careers it shaped, it's no wonder the game is immortal.